is Laura and Theresa with another episode of Ask Me Anything. This week's topic is coding strategies. There's a belief that insurance billing is at the financial heart of the practice. And while it's true that unless claims are processed and sent, there is no income. Theresa, what is the huge difference between sending a claim and having a strategy?
Well, anybody can basically push a button and send a claim. The strategy comes in making sure that we understand, first of all, what the patient's benefits really are, and use that as a strategy to give the patient the best benefit that they absolutely can. So for example, if a patient, let's use a new patient, for example, we've never seen them, we don't have any diagnostic information or anything on them. They come in and they've got a broken tooth on number 30. And they need a root canal, and they'll need a post and core and a crown. And all of a sudden, we've popped off and we've done that root canal, post and core and crown, and we've maxed them out. We've still not got any diagnostic information. There really hasn't been a proper evaluation, a comprehensive evaluation. And we max them out. And chances are, not always, but chances are that was not their only dental issue. And so they may have a lot of other things going on, but we're busy putting out fires. The patient might not come in unless something's hurt or broken. And so it could be March and we've maxed them out and they'll be like, okay, I'll see you in January. And by January, another tooth is broken. So we get into this cycle of putting out fires and maxing people out when, again, the doctor has to make that clinical decision. So I'm in no way as, inferring that the doctor made the wrong clinical decision. I would never do that. But there are options often available to us with coding and billing that doctors are not often aware of, and even insurance coders and billers, office managers, they're not aware of.
Okay, well, tell me, I'm dying to know what these are.
So, the root canal, let's use this for an example. So the root canal definitely is a have to do because we have to get that infection under control and get that tooth stable. And then you do the buildup on it, which makes it, restores it back to somewhat of a solid functioning tooth. There are provisional restoration codes that we can use. So provisional being, considered to be temporary, that we can use to further stabilize that tooth until we can either do a permanent crown or work on some other things, get some diagnostics done, get a treatment plan done. Often it's really sad. I have seen this type of a scenario where, we've jumped in and done the root canal and the crown buildup in the crown, and then only to find the teeth perhaps on either side or whatnot, or a couple over might be non-restorable and the patient does not want to restore, they opt to extract. Oh, well, now we've got to do a bridge. Well, we just put a crown on this tooth. They're not going to pay for that for 5 years now, at least. And only if there's clinical necessity. And just because it's 5 years old doesn't make it clinical necessity. So there's a lot of wasted benefits and a lot of wasted money that the patient might have paid for that crown or paid their portion for that crown. And now it's, what do you mean I've got to pay full fee for this? I just had it done a year ago. So we need to stop and think. And again, that goes back to route prep.
Mm-hmm. That's what
How are we preparing? How are we preparing for this patient? And there's all kinds of strategies. Profiing our perio patients is not a good strategy. The patient didn't want to pay for it or they were maxed, so we just went ahead and profied them today. That's a whole different thing. So yeah, there's a lot of strategy versus just billing.
So the difference between the strategy and the billing, so that happens really at the route prep stage. Where can you find a balance if you are out of whack right now? Where's the best place to start to get that strategy under control versus just being in reaction mode?
Right, and reaction mode is pushing that button in billing. So you've got a team member that's clinical, and let's say their patient was on the schedule for an MO on 3, and that was done, or maybe there was another surface that got added in, and maybe the assistant doesn't know, and you hit set complete, and then you go up to the admin desk and you get checked out, and okay, that's done, set complete, and the claim gets sent.
Yes.
So billing is a mechanical process. Coding is a strategic process. It's not the doing, it's the why we're doing.
So is it only the doctor
doing.
who can code, or is it the actual billing specialist who can stop at this point and go, okay, that's not probably coded in the best way? Or where does that happen?
Well, the doctor diagnoses treatment plans and delivers treatment. So as those things are being done, the coding is kind of following along with that. So whoever's typically entering what the doctor says is the one that's selecting the code.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean that that's wrong.
Right.
But sometimes, there are options, and many times those options just aren't evaluated enough. So what I find most often is the office manager, for example, or the insurance administrator, they may not really be understanding that every year we have a new code book, and lots of codes are deleted and lots of codes are added every year. And what I often find is office managers or insurance administrators that really aren't completely and thoroughly trained to evaluate things on an annual basis don't really understand or have the awareness that CDT codes change every year. Sometimes there's deletions, sometimes there's additions, sometimes there's just changes in the wording. There's any number of things that happen on a yearly basis. So sometimes I'm asked, can you help me get this approved? I have appealed this and appealed this and appealed this, and they keep denying it. And I'll look at their narratives, I'll look at their documentation, they'll send me things and we'll talk about it. They've used a code that's been deleted for 3 years. It's not that they didn't do the actual service, but now there's a different code that took that place. So we just need to use the right code.
Where's the best place for a dentist to make sure his team is up to speed on the coding and to be as informed as possible? How does that training happen?
Well, that would be me. So, it's really, everything is in tandem. So it's going to go back to the route prep. It goes back to understanding really in detail what a patient's benefits are, what they aren't, sitting down with the doctor, really getting those triages and diagnostics done, and that treatment plan in. And once that's done, a really good, well-trained office manager or administrator, whoever's doing that, can sit down with the doctor. I've done this on many occasions. Sat down with the doctor, not as a clinician, not as dictating treatment, not as telling the doctor we can't do this, clinical necessity, but become a partner in, if this is not an emergency, if this does not have to be first on the list, we could utilize the patient's benefits for them better if we made a left turn here and not a right turn. Mm-hmm. So they become a strategic partner in that. And that's something I love training them on, because when the light bulb goes off, it's brilliant and makes all the difference in the world.
I love that. And as most of you know, Theresa, because I love highlighting her program, Snapshots Prevent Mugshots, and you can DM or email us for more information about her program, or to ask us anything that can benefit your practice. Until next episode, have a great day.